Bryan Houston here with Coach Marcus Gold of the Whitehouse Wildcats, the 7-0 Whitehouse Wildcats, 4-0 in district play, coming off of a 30-22 win over the Marshall Mavericks last week. Coach Gold, I'm not sure how to feel about that ball game. You had it in hand, and then it got close at the end. How do you, as a coach, feel about a ball game like that? That you look like you were going to win going away, and then it got pretty dramatic there at the end.
Well, that's the game of football. You can't blink. And to not say we didn't play a complete football game. I think we did for 4 quarters. It was 16-0 in the first half. We finished off the game winning 30-22. There's a 2-minute segment in there to where we get that turnover. And I know how much we harp on taking care of the football, but that ball kind of just slips out, and that falls in the hands of the wrong guy, number one. He picks it up and runs all the way down to the 15-yard line. They score. They have an amazing onside kick right there. Get it right back, score again on kind of some scramble type stuff. So I don't want to knock our kids on that. I think they still played hard, and the word of the week was composure. Under that duress, I think they still kept their composure, and we got the hands team ready to go right after that. The offense was ready, defense was ready to step up and make a stop. And then with 5.5 minutes left in the game, our offense gets the ball, marches all the way down the field, soaks up all the clock. So it was a great win, amazing win for our kids to beat a team that's beaten us for the last couple of years. Been our only district loss. So it's good to get over that hump.
Yeah, I mean, you hadn't beaten them since 2013, I think, back when Patrick Mahomes was the quarterback. So that's a nice streak to have end. You mentioned the drive at the end of the game, and I wanted you to talk a little bit about the performance of your offensive line this year. The week before, your quarterback took some shots. This week, that offensive line was pretty dominant against Marshall.
They've done a great job all year, and again, those guys are the ones we leaned on, and with our sophomore running back and Gooden being a senior running back, and Conflitti back there, and some of our young guys, we've leaned on our offense and defensive line all year, led by Jackson Conser, and playing tackle Garrett, our team captain. Is the first time I've had a team captain be an offensive lineman. The first, Liam done an amazing job at center, to where we were supposed to bring our center back last year as a return, and Liam steps in and does a great job snapping the football. David White was somebody who was a junior on JV last year, and the definition of chop wood, carry water with that kid. He does an amazing job. He's one of the greatest kids to be around, and he stepped in and done a great job. And Lance Dill, younger brother of Josh Dill, he's done a great job. So all 5 of those guys have really gotten after it. Every single game they've stayed healthy, and they're the Mr. Consistent of our team right now.
Well, they've really played great, and again, such a clutch drive after Marshall closed to within 8 points, to be able to just run the clock out was really impressive. The other thing that was so impressive about the game is that you guys are so opportunistic on defense, and so turnovers directly going into points. Rayford's fumble recovery, Jack Clark falling on a loose ball in the end zone. I mean, that's got to, for an old defensive coordinator like yourself, that's got to really warm your heart.
Yeah. I think for somebody like you can't really hold your breath when you're announcing our games, because at any moment it could just change. And I feel like we're out there, when you're out there on the field, and the emotions of the game, the kids feel that, and they're just constantly into a game. There's never a dull moment when we're on special teams. Like, okay, what kicks are we going to do here? What blocks are we going to have right here? What fakes can we possibly go with on offense? We're a 70-yard touchdown to Trevor Thiering away at any moment, and on defensive side of the ball, I think we're doing a lot of, Coach because Beaton's doing a great job with mixing coverages up in the secondary, to where we're getting our hands on the football. With Jaden Brandon had 2 interceptions, and Norvell's making some hits across the middle, they're doing a great job. Our defensive line is kind of creating some havoc back there for the quarterback. So Everybody on the other team's always going to have that guy out there as a receiver or have that guy at running back. Most high school football teams, that's their best athlete. And our job is to try to find ways to bracket that guy and keep him limited and see if we can be optimistic in getting our hands on the football. We know during our team sessions and practice throughout the week, we require our kids to have, hey, you got either 5 gashers at right at the end of the segment, or you can get 5 turnovers. Which one you want to do? So they're always in there stripping the ball away, trying to get their hands on the ball, trying to build that incentive so it's an instinct when the football game comes on.
So being undefeated now and being 4-0 in district, what are the challenges mentally for you with your team right now, if there are any?
I think it's exciting. I think it's it's easier for us as coaches because they're drinking that Kool-Aid that we're born for. They're believing in what we're telling them because of the success that we've had. But I feel like every single week presents another difficult and different challenge for them. And what better challenge than Pine Tree, a team who's lost 1 game to a team who hasn't lost any football games. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be a huge challenge for us. Our kids know what's at stake. We win this football game, we have home field advantage for the first round of the playoffs. They tasted that last year for the kids that were on that football team when we got a chance to play Katy Pato here. So they know what's at stake. They've tasted that before. That's what's good about, building a program over time. It's like when you start going to the playoffs, they start tasting that victory. And that's what you want. You want those wins and having those playoff type experience. So at moments like this, it's not too big of a moment for them. And it's the same scenario. Last year, we go down to Pine Tree. We're 5-0. It's the game of the week. We win that football game. We have home field advantage. Exact same scenario as last year. So kind of coincidental, but I think our kids are going to be ready for it, and I think they're focused.
The only negative coming from the ball game the other night really was the turnovers, the fumbles. I mean, you had some major plays. Thiering had a huge punt return that got spoiled by a fumble on the end of it. That had to be disappointing. Gooden's fumble that set up the touchdown that allowed Marshall to kind of get back into the ball game. Do you get concerned when you start having a run like that where you're not hanging on to the ball?
It could be, I think what you want to look at is the turnover margin, maybe more than anything. Hey, if we turn the ball over 3 times, well, we better have 3 turnovers. We turn it over 4 times, we better have 4 turnovers. So, if you win that margin significantly, then you can have a really good opportunity to win that game significantly. But we always look at more of a +2 margin. If we can get 2 turnovers, let's not turn the ball over at all. But if with everyone that we get, man, we got to get one back in some way or fashion. So I think that's the way to kind of look at it. And again, our kids are we harp sudden change situations and try to put them in as many bad situations as we possibly can, offense and defensive side of the ball. Offense being backed up, or our defense being in a goal line scenario to where they're ready when the game comes on.
Were you surprised that Pine Tree lost in the fashion they lost to, 44-0 to Texas High?
I was, and I think that's probably one of the worst games they played. That's not the ball team that they are by any means. They are a very good football team, or a football team that can make a run for 2 or 3 rounds this year. They have a quarterback who is every bit looks like Kyler Murray when he's out there playing. He can run. He doesn't throw the ball with as much arm strength, but it is just super accurate in the passes that he makes, and he's accurate with a receiver that runs a 4.3 out there, and he is a speedy Gonzalez, man. He can get the ball on reverse plays. They can try to find him the ball quick on some screens, or they can just try to blow the top off over the top. So they are a 2-back tight end team to where they're going to ground and pound it, but you got to honor that quarterback's ability to scramble and get out on the edges, and number 6 out there in space. So they present a really big challenge for us as probably maybe one of the best overall football teams that we will play this year. So they got off to a rough start. They kind of got bruised up a little bit early on in that game. to where there's a couple key players that didn't finish the game, but that they'll be back, they'll be ready to go, and this is going to be a big opportunity for them this week as well.
They were outgained 506 yards to 169. Does that speak more to their issues or just how good Texas High is?
Yeah, again, I think the second half they had some of their key players out right there that will be back, and who I've seen numbers of where they've had 700, 800 yards of offense in a football game. So there's times they were averaging 50 points a game, and it does speak high to Texas High. Texas High is they're a really good football teams with a lot of Division I football players that are out there. So it was a different game for them, and I think we got to magnify some of those other games that they played really well in.
Yeah. So when you are getting ready for a team like this, what are you looking at? What key matchups do you see that you like, and what matchups do you look at that could concern you a little bit?
You just need to push that button record whenever, because it's always the same thing right now. It is the key of the game is we've got to stop the run. They are a run heavy football team. They're pretty even with the passing game and the running game, but I think they've gained so much significant yards on a 70-yard bomb or a 50-yard pass play that keeps it pretty even. But they got to be able to stop the run first, and then and keep them behind the sticks on first and second down, and give your defense a chance to mix up some different things. And it starts with the D-line. You're going to look at their offensive line on Friday, and they're going to be as pretty as a looking 5-6 group that you've ever seen with their tight end and their offensive linemen. There's some big boys that will get they get their paws on you, and they try to move their feet really well. Their fullback does a great job in trying to pick off an end or an outside linebacker, and that running back and quarterback duo is an impressive group to see week in, week out. And then on the flip side, you got to look at our ability to run the football. I think that's been our best games. Boy. Is when we can run the football, well, then we can pass the football well. It's just, it kind of goes hand in hand, and we can't get one-dimensional in that. So our offensive line's ability to show up, and they're all healthy, they're all ready to go. We're excited about that.
One last question before I let you go. Because this year is so different, and you guys now are into the second week of Thanksgiving, and you still got 3 games left to play, and you started practicing back, I guess, under normal circumstances back when the school year began and a few weeks before that. Do you worry about your team being mentally tired or extra stress because of all that's going on and trying to stay healthy and trying to, tamp down the COVID and all that?
I mean, that is really something to look at. It's really affected, I think, our sub-varsities more than our varsity groups, to where this is a much longer season that they've ever been a part of, because they don't experience playoffs, and they don't experience such a long, just drawn-out season. And coming in from junior high to a freshman in high school and dealing with COVID-19 and being out for that's mentally draining for kids. So our numbers have remained high. We've never had to cancel any freshman or JV games. And the kids that have to step up, they step up and do a well job. But with those kids, it's like, okay, who's your scout team every week? And, do they want to practice right here? And then they're going to have to turn around and practice in the afternoon with us. So we're going to have to, starting next week, as the season progresses and the sub-varsity comes to a close, is do a lot more good on good and practice to where, all right, our offense is going to have to run the scout team. Our defense has to scout team. So practice may be a little bit more lengthier, but the reps won't be as much. So there is going to be some strategy that's going to be involved with doing this. And luckily we have a good record right now, and I'm thankful for that. And I think that itself kind of keeps the kids motivated. But you do see some tendencies where it's like, man, we got to constantly pick them up. We got to constantly be the energy for them every single day and try to keep them motivated. But I think once that Wednesday, we've changed a little bit of our practices. We go Monday afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, and we flip right around and go Wednesday morning. Puts a little bit more on our coaches. But they love it when Wednesday morning practice is over. It's it's like smooth sailing. There's nothing else Wednesday afternoon. We'll do meetings. We'll do a little bit of weights. Thursdays walk through Friday. So they're like, okay, I think it kind of, keeps that energy level high for Friday.
Fresh legs.
Fresh legs. Yeah, that's the key.
No doubt. Well, you guys have done a fantastic job to this point, Coach, and I can tell you we thoroughly enjoy watching your team play on a regular basis. It's awesome, and so we're just so grateful to have football this year and be able to enjoy these ball games. So, best of luck to you on Friday night. We again are just honored to be able to call the ball games and really have enjoyed watching you guys play.
I tell you, it's the highlight of a lot of people's weeks, and is that 3 hours on a Friday evening to watch their kids play and watch those boys play, and us have an opportunity to go out there and have fun. It's definitely everything else is going on. It's a nice little getaway, and sometimes
Yes.
so we're thankful for it and glad that we're still playing.
It's nice to have that break just to forget about all the other stuff and just watch some good high school football. And it's been good high school football.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
All right, Coach. Best of luck to you on Friday night. It's Coach Marcus Gold as the Whitehouse Wildcats get ready to take on the Pine Tree Pirates. Thanks very much for your time, Coach.
Yes, sir. Thank you.